when I was 14, I was walking home from school and I was attacked at knife point by a rapist. And I was very, very lucky. I was actually saved by a dog that barked so hard that he distracted this person enough to allow me to escape.
Someone else's dog or a street dog?
Because he literally had dragged me at knife point backwards into this space. And I don't want to give too many graphic details. I don't want to trigger anyone that's watching this. So this is something that I have gone through therapy and all of that. So I'm healed. So as I talk about it, it's not triggering for me, but I don't want to trigger anyone else. But what I would say is that with that experience came things that I didn't expect as a 14-year-old, people pointing the finger on your way to school. Oh, that's her. They may not know the details, but like the stigma and all of the stuff that kind of goes along with it. And at the time, not being able to clearly say, oh, that's him, when they put all of these men in front of me, for me at that age to say, I am 100% sure that this person is the one. So I learned a lot from that experience, but it was the experience, as unfortunate as it was at that point. That's when my grandmother called my mom and said, you know, I really do need you to come and get her. That's how I came to the US, because after that, my mom, who had gone off to America to try to make a better life for us at the time, came back and got me. And, you know, I come out of that experience with so much insight about how these things could happen, empathy for people who end up doing stuff like that. Over the years, studying and going through therapy and having discussions, now at this age, having all of that wealth of knowledge with me, it's very different from back then. But I share that story because there are people who go through those type of experiences and they feel like they can't come out of them. And I want people to know that regardless of what experience you've gone through, we can find a way to help you to come out of that experience and have a much better life experience.
I can imagine you'd be amazing as a coach, having had that experience and worked through all of that. Just that already made you a coach because you've dealt with PTSD, you've dealt with trauma at a very young age.
Usually, like, if I encounter someone who has a situation like that, we will pull in an expert in a specific field for that person to help them with that specific thing.
Yeah.
And so it's not just me, it's putting together the right team that's able to help you with whatever it is that you need.
You have a very interesting career that we haven't really spoken about yet, working for Fortune magazine and Newsweek. So that also has, made you into who you are today. Can you give me a little bit of your background just for the listeners and viewers to get to know you better?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I count myself, very, very lucky, but I also believe that you create your luck. So while I was in college and I was working at some points 3 different jobs, and as I got to a point where I was about to graduate, I remember I went to the job wall and I applied for this job, and I had no idea where this job was going to be. It turned out to be for Fortune magazine.
Wow.
And yeah.
Lucky break.
And I remember at first it was a phone interview, and I felt like I really connected with this woman, Lee, who has been one of my greatest mentors in life. Wow. And she was amazing, meticulous. I get a lot of my meticulous nature from her. Wow. She also was inspiring because she was the first person that told me things like invest. I just was not thinking about investing.
Yeah, you were
When I
just out
was
of
working
college.
at that, yeah, that young age, it was not something that I was thinking about. And I remember really clear, she was like, just do it. And I trusted her enough to just do it, even though I didn't quite understand it, 401k and those kinds of things. And that has served me well over the years. Now it's a little bit different. I do things differently, but that was key. But my experience working at Fortune magazine, she taught me how to first do my job, but then she also helped me to train someone to take my place so that I could rise into the
Wow,
next position, which is a
amazing.
beautiful thing,
Yeah.
right? That was wonderful. That was here in the US, but I ended up going to Newsweek International, and
Oh,
that was for
wow.
Europe, Asia, Latin America. And I got to travel to
Amazing.
Paris and Switzerland and Zurich and London and Hong Kong. Like, it
Wow.
was a totally different experience. What happened, I'd work on some problem that might be presented. Hey, we're not receiving business in this specific area or industry. Can you help? So
Okay.
I'd go in, I'd ask questions, I'd try to understand the situation, and we'd come up with an idea with the team to figure out what would work. And then usually I'd get the call saying, can you come? Can you come and present it in whatever country it was? And I'd go with the team, and we'd go and we'd present. And I had one beautiful experience I really remember and loved was with private bankers in Switzerland, getting them to come in. And that was a close to $1 million project within 60 days or so, just listening to what was needed and crafting a strategy and executing that over the first year and the second year. It ended up being a really nice project. But that experience helped me understand how to put projects together for Fortune 500 companies. So doing it for individuals is different, because sometimes you don't have those large budgets that you might have, but having that experience and knowing what's possible today with today's technology and with all of the changes that we've experienced in the world, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people are still operating as if we are still in the past, and they're not really utilizing everything that they could be utilizing to get where they want to go, because they're still operating by a lot of traditional mechanisms. And that's where that knowledge helps me to put that together with what's really available today and come up with some unique ways for just a regular person to develop themselves really in a way that prior to now you would consider only a Fortune 500 company might be able to do. So,
Interesting.
you know how they say now you got your iPhone, and that has the power that only presidents used to have years ago. It's the same thing with life. The power that we have now.
Wonderful. And your message to the world then?
I always say you want to have awareness, and you want to take action. You want to measure your results, and you want to repeat. And you take yourself through that process over and over. And as you do that, as you're going through your life journey, as you do that, you'll find that you're rising and you're achieving.
Yeah.
And, it's one goal after another, but you're also living in that space of being able to be happy with whatever it is that you have at the moment at the same time.